Hey everyone, Works here. So back with another Geoff Castellucci video. This is the second of three that I've eventually promised coming down. I think I'm going to do Man of Constant Sorrow as the next one because I saw it was on his thing, and I also see that it reminds me, and I kind of want to see what he does with it as a solo artist compared to what Home Free did in their version of it that I love so much. Which, if you haven't seen the Home Free version, I did do a reaction to that. Go check in the acapella reaction playlist. It's in there somewhere. Um, But today we're going to be covering Icy Fire from The Hobbit. This is a song that has kind of gone under the radar for years because everyone looks at Misty Mountains and sees that as like this amazing epic song, which it is. And we've seen many versions of it. I mean, hell, I did a whole month dedicated to different videos of that version with Jeff's and the Wellerman and Jonathan Young and Melinda Catherine Reese, and I'm sure there's other versions out there that I could have probably gone and sought out. But Icy Fire is a song that kind of flies under the radar overall. And I think some of it is just because The Hobbit in general wasn't as well received as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy was, which there's a lot of good and valid criticisms for that, and a lot of them I agree with. But I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nut. Star Wars, and The World of Ice and Fire are probably my three favorite fantasy settings, so I'm always going to nerd out at a chance to go diving back into Middle Earth and all of its lore. So that's what we're going to do in this video today. For those of you that are new to the channel, I appreciate you very much for tuning in and clicking on this video. For those of you that are veterans of the channel, it's good to see you again. I know I'm trying to find the balance between being more frequent with these without burning myself out on them. So for those of you that have been around a long time, I appreciate your patience, and it's always good to have you back in this channel with me. For those of you that are new, my name is Corey. I go by Works in all of the social channels because that is my online gaming name, as I'm still primarily an online gamer around this channel first foremost, and these videos are, although I'm probably going to be switching that up soon. Who knows? I might rebrand. But I was a percussionist in high school, which was like 20 years ago or so at this point, so I don't know how much I can hold on to that anymore. But I'm just a guy who really loves music. I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I love acapella. I love bass singer covers. I love just diving into music theory, music composition, and musical ideas. And then I also really appreciate visual aspects of these videos as well because I'm a video maker, so I like looking at the creative influences that go into the visuals of a lot of videos. So that's kind of what I look into. So if you're here looking for someone to break down like all these ridiculous low notes I'm sure we're about to hear, you're not going to get that from me, unfortunately. I appreciate those that do. I ask that you put them in the comments anytime, but that's not my specialty. That's not my area. So I'm just more of a guy that just really loves doing these things and just has a lot of fun with it. And I hope that that kind of translates across in these videos. So we'll go from there. So that's kind of just a quick overview on me. If you want to see anything else that I've done across multiple genres, I focus a lot on voice play because they are my favorite group. Geoff Castellucci, my favorite singer on the planet right now. And I focus a lot on Bass Gang when their stuff is coming out. I know they're doing Disney songs for their new EP, so I'm very excited to see that. And then we have, I've done stuff on like Home Free. I've done Jonathan Young before. I've done, tried to do a couple Pentatonics videos, but they just got like universally blocked on YouTube. And I think it's because of the way that I do my videos. And I've tried to do a few other groups, but those never really kind of caught on. I'm looking at some other things to do, like I'm trying to get maybe into the beatbox realm a little bit since I am a percussionist at heart, getting into these ridiculous beatboxers and kind of breaking down what I'm hearing out of that as someone that has dabbled in it in the past, but is extremely out of practice. So that's kind of what I look to do with these sort of musical reaction videos. For those of you that have never seen one of these videos and the way that I do them, YouTube really freaking hates it. But the way that I do it is that if I've never seen the video before, which this one I have not, then I go through and I sit down and I watch the entire damn thing. I don't pause. All you get is this fat head in the bottom left of your screen reacting to what he's seeing on here. So if you've never seen this video, you'll be able to react to it along with me. If you don't want my fat head out of the way, I definitely recommend you go look up the video in its original form so that you can enjoy it on your own and then come back and watch this fat head react to it. After we get through the video on first viewing, I take a minute, kind of give my quick one thought reaction, and then we go back in and I do a lot more pausing because I'm doing a little bit more on the breakdown, the analyzation side of things, so that I can just kind of nerd out about the video and what I feel about it. So that's the structure. So without further ado, I've been 5 minutes on this. It's way too long. I'm sorry. Let's dive into I See Fire from The Hobbit, low bass singer cover by the king of bass, in my opinion, Geoff Castellucci.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during sudden. If this is to end in fire, then we should all burn together. Watch the flames climb high into the night, calling out, Father, stand by and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside high.
And if we should die tonight, then we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time, calling out, Father, oh, prepare as we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire hollowing souls. I see fire, the blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me.
Oh, should my people fall, then surely I will do the same. Confined in mountain halls, we got too close to the flame. Calling out, Father, oh, hold fast and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire hollowing souls. I see fire and blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me. I hope that you remember. And if the night is burning, I will cover my eyes. For if the dark returns and my brothers will die, and as the sky is falling down, it crashed into this lonely town, and
Hey
Wow.
y'all, thanks so much for watching I See Fire from The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. I hope you loved it because I'm pretty sure I still have glue on my face from all of the makeup. As always, these videos would be impossible to make without viewers like you and all of the lovely folks over on Patreon. And just to name a few of my favorites, Holdred Draco.
Wow. Just wow. Shit, that made me emotional. Fuck, I wasn't expecting that. I know the song is emotional. Um, and like, just damn. He, fuck, man. Like, why did I make this the last one I'm gonna record for the night? Son of a bitch. God, I, I don't. I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna go back and analyze this, but it might take me a little bit here. So, yeah, man, I need a couple minutes. God, that made me emotional. Jesus. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Combination of me gathering my thoughts and answering an important text message. So, um, wow. Okay. So I think I'm good now to come back and do this because damn, that hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Super emotional. I'm trying to pull something here because like if I recall, I don't think I See Fire showed up in the actual movie. It's been a long time since I've seen Desolation of Smaug. Um, just checking something to see if it showed up in the movie or if it's just on the soundtrack. I think it's just the soundtrack. Um, so for anyone that's not aware of I See Fire and kind of what its purpose on this is, so obviously you talk about like my brothers would be dying, so this song is really about like taking the dwarves of Thorn, Oak, and Shield and the rest, and uh knowing that they're going into what potentially is a suicide mission, trying to get Smaug out of their home, their ancient home, and themes of fighting fire with fire, of course, is a way to do that. um and to allow for potential escape and cleansing of the mountains, so to speak. So, um, so this song is on its surface very emotional, and Ed Sheeran, who I'm not a fan of generally, but this is a song that I think he did excellent work on. Um, Plus, he looks like Bilbo in the movie. Uh, but and so it's a very emotional song, as you can tell, and it's the idea of going into battle with your brothers, knowing that all of you, if not any of you, may walk out. So just some really nice. If you understand like the movies and the story of the Hobbit and what it entails, then you know that that you know what happens essentially. Not everyone does make it out alive. Um, and to quote a line from one of my World of Warcraft NPCs, when they talk about soldiers dying, their names will forever be remembered, and that's what ends up happening in the lore of Middle Earth with these characters. So let's dive in. I know I'm going a long way on this. I'm already at, this is going to be a long one, so please batten your hatches down. We're at 15 minutes. I haven't even started the analyzation of this roughly 5-minute song. So yeah, it's going to be this is going to be a little bit of a one to dig into. So before we get into the first note, which someone please tell me what it is, two things. One, I really love and appreciate the silence with just the howling wind. And so sorry, I'm trying to still kind of compose myself, still dealing with some tech message stuff. So if I'm not fully focused, I apologize. I'll try to edit as much as I can, but just want to be upfront with you guys. But so basically what happens is with this start here with just the wind, it really sets the tone in a way, and also kind of mimics what these guys are going to be feeling as they sit around a campfire knowing they're about to go walk into hell, essentially. And so I really, really like and appreciate that. I also respect and appreciate that all of the original Geoffs from Misty Mountains are back. I love that Geoff does this. Voice Play has done this in general with like the My Mother Told Me About Hella Calling, where they used essentially the same costuming. Obviously, Ellie went from no beard to beard, and they added in Caesar. And that they've seen it too with like Hoist the Colors and Drunken Sailor, although Caesar's two different characters in that one as well, which made me kind of sad. Geoff does this here where we have the 4 original dwarves from Misty Mountains back here, and just a different configuration. So I really love that he does that attention to detail, and I really appreciate and respect that.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below.
Just really nice, just jumping right into the deep end there with you on the bass. Really, really love that. And coming from the Geoff that last time was the closest to bass in the supporting outside of Geoff on the far left here in this video as on the screen, was kind of the main bass carrier in the first one. Here, he's not so much doing that. It's fallen to this Geoff, who looks the closest to Thorin Oakenshield that you get.
Keep careful watch of my brother's souls, and should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching.
Nice little subharmonic there, where it jumps in and jumps back into chest voice. Really, really nice transition there. I appreciate that.
Over during sun.
And again, that slide down, back in again. I think this is like a perfect opening for this song, considering you're expecting that bass. And so he just kind of gives it to you up front, because in the rest of the song, in a way, bass almost doesn't work. Which is weird, because Misty Mountains is known as like the bass anthem in a lot of ways. Like if you're a bass singer, you've got to sing a good Misty Mountains. Or if you're a wannabe bass singer, you have to have a passable Misty Mountains, which hopefully that's me. Maybe one day I'll do a short with a verse on it or something when I wake up in the morning, so I actually have a good bass voice. Not this end of the day stuff that I do here where it's not very good. Anyways, so he hits this kind of with you and kind of blows you away right off the beginning with just his bass vocal range and control that he has in his bass levels, because the rest of the song, it's much more supporty in its nature versus kind of being a star standout.
If this is to end in fire, then we should all burn together.
So again, we get this Geoff, who was the bassline carrier and the mainline carrier in Misty Mountains in the bass range, comes back and kind of has it. So again, this little respects the continuity for those of us that are big enjoyers of his work. The fact that he has that care and attention to detail for that stuff just shows that he respects our time as his fans. So really like that. And of course, as we talk about, anytime Geoff has accompanying Geoffs, how does he introduce them? Ums or oohs? Here we get ums. Again, connecting back to Misty Mountains, where you see a lot of that. I wonder if there's going to be a lot of call and response in this video like there was in Misty Mountains. We'll see. I don't recall hearing anything immediately, but I was kind of caught up in everything. So as a second listen and a breakdown listen, I'll see if I catch it.
Watch the flames climb high into the night, calling out, Father, oh, stand by and we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
Really low, subharmonically, borderline growls there, I think. Because it's just like, it's very, very, very breathy. There's not a ton of power behind it. And so it just adds like this, but like, it adds this like different tonality to it, of course, but I think it actually fits like perfectly within the specter of this song, which is a combination of tragedy and like slow, like pump you up song. Because like I know I've seen comments before from people that have listened to this song and stuff like that. That I know one guy who said that like his company used to listen to it before going on missions. You know, like that to me kind of speaks to what this song can be. So it's very, very cool. But that like growly, not super powerful, very breathy, super low end, I think is a really nice touch. And again, a very good attention to detail. Ooh, wait a second. With the two basses there, one with the breathy kind of subharmonic-y type thing, and the other one going like what feels like full chest or even a good strong sub. Really, really like that with the
And if we should die tonight, then we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time, calling out, Father, oh, prepare as we will watch the flames burn on the mountainside.
So I really like this, Geoff, as we got that verse there. I wanted to let it play through. Again, dealing with stuff, so apologies for that. But I really, really like the way that we get this Geoff going up into that kind of tenor range. And again, it's very breathy in a way. It's very soft. It's not this in-your-face power, which is, considering the type of song, again, very appropriate, and I really appreciate that attention to detail. You're going to hear this phrase a lot, I think, in this video. Just really cool attention to detail across the board. And so, but I really like the fact that, A, he's highlighting his other versions of himself a lot more in this video than what you saw in Misty Mountains, where they were almost strictly, like background vocalists, supporting vocalists. Here they're all getting a little chance to shine, and it shows off Geoff's range, which we know is stellar. So very, very cool way to arrange this to kind of be with callbacks to Misty Mountains without the without it being like a mirror of it.
Desolation comes upon the sky.
In that drop.
I see fire.
Really like the lighting change here. I think this is I haven't even looked at the credits. We will here in a little bit. I just really appreciate the lighting change here and the way that it kind of again continues to set the tone and the idea of fire. So red associated closely with fire. So very, very cool stuff. And we get the switch over into this piano that's going to start helping be a true driver in this section in terms of helping the song feel like it's going somewhere. We talk about forward momentum a lot in Geoff's videos because it's just a very cool concept. And we talk about forward momentum. I've been talking about forward momentum a lot because to me, if a song doesn't have an engine, it doesn't feel like it has a heart. And so that's why I focus a lot on it.
Inside the mountain, I see fire. Burning the trees, I see fire. Halloween souls, I see fire. The blood in the breeze, and I...
hear that little like goes down into that like subby, almost growl like situation. It's very, very like that. Let's listen to that one more time. Listen, it's very subtle. It's very cool.
The blood in the breeze, and I hope that you
Right there. Very subtle, very, very cool. Really like that. Where if you're keen and paying attention, you pick it up and it's like a neat little Easter egg almost. But if you're not paying attention or you don't recognize it, it affects nothing. It's really smart arranging and use of his voice. Really like it.
remember me.
Really soft percussion here in the background, most likely using brushes rather than traditional drumsticks. So there are a few different ways you could do this. There are sometimes you can use it as something as simple as paint brushes. There's wire brushes if you're looking for a specific sound, but this one is very trying to think of a way to describe it, but the way that it sounds, the way the snare sounds, it sounds like he's using almost like paint brushes, at least for whoever did the instrumentation on it, rather is, where it's just like kind of like that type of pacing there. If you listen to it here, let's listen real quick. Ooh, it's bouncing left to right in the ears too. Oh my God, Geoff, thank you, sir, for doing something fun with percussion in your song. Love, love, love that. But yeah, you can see it's just like this. Almost sounds like he's on a hi-hat, but he's not. He's actually on, or whoever's doing the instrumentation on this is actually on a snare drum. They're just not using traditional drumsticks. You're not getting that kind of hard staccato type sound that you would normally associate with it. Because he's using brushes, it's most likely brushes. Then you're getting this kind of like really nice, like soft, wispy sound out of the snare drum. And it is very, very cool and very appropriate for here. So I'm a huge fan of using brushes. I loved when I got music that had brush parts in it as a drummer in high school when I was in marching band, because it just allowed for a very different flow and feel, and to play them well with a group of 2 or 3 other players, which is what I mostly had in high school. It was very technique intensive, and you had to be very much in tune with each other. So as a drummer, I loved playing with brushes because it was a unique challenge. As a musician or as someone that appreciates the sounds that it creates, it's a very soft, pulled back way to include drums without them feeling like they're grating against the rest of the piece, which is very piano and soft voice driven. So it's a very nice little contrast that allows you to include it to continue a little bit of forward momentum without actually having to like do crazy mixing to make it work.
Oh, should my people fall, then surely I would do the same. Confined in mountain halls, we got too close to the flame.
Whoa, before we get into this stupid high note, really like what's going on in the background here. I didn't really pay attention to it first because I was listening to what I think is baritone mainline, but I really like what's going on in the background here. Let me listen to it one more time.
Surely I would do the same. Confined in mountain halls, we...
Ooh, bass Geoff is kind of doing these nice little dips to add that contrasting motion. And just really, really like the way that that's kind of playing against not only just the main line, but also against the piano as well. Like it's both blending, but still able to stand on its own and add a little bit of flavor to the background supporting melodies that are going on. Really, really like the way he did that.
Do the same. Confined in mountain halls, we got too close to the flame.
And it's very simple. You know, except sounds better than me. But I really appreciate the fact that we've got that kind of very almost simple, like what you would expect on like a very simple, straightforward guitar rhythm coming from the vocals. So I really, really like that.
Calling out, Father, oh, hold fast and wait.
So I don't explore Jeff's upper range a lot. I'm mostly just impressed by it. But what I want to know from a sort of vocal technique perspective is all of that chest, because there sounds like there's some mix into potential falsetto there. Someone that knows a lot more about that stuff, please tell me. I want to be able to know. But I really love this softness that it all has, and that it kind of like, I know I've seen like powerful ones. Like I know in like Enemy, for example, he on my end, like after he does his little bass line, you expect him to drop into the basement. Instead, he jumps like 2 octaves. So I know he can do like high notes with power. I really love the way he does high notes with softness here. And again, fitting into the theme, soft, quiet, tense in a way. There's a lot of tension built underneath here. Really appreciate that. And I don't recall in the stuff that I've covered hearing Geoff be able to explore his upper range in that way. And it's really cool, really unique.
Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire.
So I really like what's going on here. There's no call and response. So my favorite musical technique's not being used here. But I really like the way this chorus is structured. And I can't put my finger exactly on as to why. And I think it's just the really, like the closest thing that I can kind of describe is that I really love the way that this, like the main line going here with, I believe this Geoff, in this kind of low baritone, upper bass range is going, and then you got the high voices in the background both meeting him on the main line, but then just extending out the last notes or the last verb. So like instead of saying I see fire and then they jump into the next line, they go I see fire, something like that, and then they come back to him on the main line a little bit later. I really love the way that that feels here.
Burning the trees, I see fire. Hallowing souls, I see fire. And blood in the breeze, and I hope.
Really love the harmony on Breeze. Gorgeous, just gorgeous, Geoff. Thank you, sir.
Hope that you remember me. I hope that you remember.
Guys, he did it. Listen, it's right here. You hear it. I know you do. I know you do because I hear it.
You remember me. I hope that you remember.
Okay, so what you're hearing there is when he says, I hope that you remember, I think is the exact wording. What's happening there is, of course, lead Geoff, so Geoff on our left here. I'm pointing at my monitor like you can see it because I'm an idiot. So this Geoff here leads with that, and then the other 3 Geoffs come back in and do it. So the great thing, one thing I adore about call and response, and the reason why it's one of, if not my favorite musical techniques, is that it can really add this, can evoke certain feelings out of it where it feels like you're being listened to in a way. And so call and response, you might hear it as question and answer. That's another way to do it, where it almost feels like in question and answer, it's more in sort of like instrumental music where it's like one phrase asks a question, like Super Mario Land, if you're a video gamer, knows, where it's like this. I don't remember the exact rhythm. I'm not gonna try it. I'll post something later on it, or in editing or whatever. But the way that call and response, I think, can be really, really effective is that it can, it really does a good job of enhancing. It can be overused, just like any musical technique, it can be overused. But what call and response does, in my opinion, is that, or in this particular case, is that it really enhances that idea that it wants you to remember, is the way that the word is here. But what it does also is it adds like really nice depth into a section that could potentially lack it, and it's a very easy way to add depth into a section and allow you to explore harmonies, which he does here. If you listen, because right here's, and I hope that you remember, because if you listen, and you have to listen on good headphones like these, but if you listen in the very depths, there's, I think Geoff on the right is like super low subs, and then you're getting these two high tenor voices. So there's a really nice, like probably 2 to 3 octave gap between the very high Geoff and the very low Geoff, which just makes an amazing harmony. And it kind of evokes that feeling of sadness. Like these are brothers that know that something is about to happen to them. This is what this does in this case. So I just really, really love what we're getting here. So we're going to go back 10 seconds, listen to it one more time, and we're going to finish out, because I'm at 36 minutes on this video. Holy shit, this one's long.
And blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me. I hope that you remember. And if the night is burning, I will cover my eyes. For if the dark returns and my brothers will die, and as the sky is falling down.
God, the harmonies. Good Lord. All right, so this section excels a lot because we're getting Geoff in his like peak. I'm gonna use a 90s reference, like peak Casey and JoJo, like ballad singing tenor voice here with this Geoff on the right as we look at this screenshot. But the underlining harmonies with kind of like a double bass and a baritone coming underneath of it, just God, they invoke goosebumps because they're so gorgeous and so perfectly spaced that it's just amazing. So we're gonna go back 10 seconds, listen to it a little bit, and then we're gonna finish out this video, because I think even with editing I'm gonna be at like 36 minutes on this video total.
For if the dark returns and my brothers will die.
Ooh, really like this here, where mainline Geoff, dark returns, my brothers, and then like a beat later, or on the I think even on the 8th note upbeat. Let me listen real quick.
For if the dark returns and my brother.
Yeah, so an 8th note later. So we got dark returns, my, and then in the background on the next 8th note, my. Really like that kind of layering build up that they're doing as they go into a full harmony, or full chorus, so to speak, full. Shit, I'm trying to think of the term. It's escaping me, but they're all on the same one on the very next 8th note. Very cool.
For if the dark returns and my brothers will die, and as the sky is falling down, it crashed into this lonely town.
Ooh, wait a second. What is this bass?
As the sky is falling down, it crashed into this
Crashed in. Really like the way that plays off in the background.
lonely town, and with that shadow upon the ground, I hear my people screaming out. Now
Ooh, we got some violin added in the background, if I caught that correctly.
upon the ground, I hear my people.
That cha-cha, 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 cha-cha. Really nice. Like the addition there. It's very subtle.
People screaming out, now I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees. I see fire.
I mean, what are you going to say to that? So you did this crazy deep bass at like second 10 of the song, and then we don't hear anything solo bass for 4 minutes, and then he comes back and hits you with this right at the end of the song. It full circle, right? Am I wrong?
I see hollowing souls. I see fire and blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me.
Really love the transition into this with the clean shaven Geoff going into the hope that you remember, where the other ones transition out of, breathe, breathe, something like that.
That you remember, and I hope that you remember.
And then the creaking of the entrance gate, so to speak, right there at the end. Very, very cool. Wow, God, this was so good. Man, this might be one of my favorites of Geoff now. I'm gonna have to go back, definitely add this to my playlist for sure. I really, really like this. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much for sticking around for this marathon. Insanity. So what I'll do is I'll get this going and get this one added into the mix, so to speak. I'd say pair this one with Misty Mountains, listen to them back to back, whether it's the original songs or my reactions. Now, Misty Mountains was done like at the beginning of my reaction career versus what I'm doing now. I feel like I've made a lot of improvements. So if you get to see that, if you care about it, but just from the songs, I would back Misty Mountains right up against Icy Fire. Listen to them back to back. You can just get a really big feel for things if you love the fantasy setting of Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth, which I do. That's my recommendation. So that's the end of this reaction, guys. I appreciate you all for sticking around for this marathon one. Until the next video, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're having fun. You're listening to great music. You're enjoying yourself in any form and fashion that you enjoy yourself. That's safe. I will see you all in the next video.